Unions build roads, bridges, and buildings, yes. But with training and apprenticeship programs, unions build much more. A safer community, careers without crushing debt, and a route to rebuild the American middle class. Unions build the future. And we're just getting started. Join us.
Today on Built to Last, everything old is new again.
There's a little pride in sawing good lumber.
A homecoming.
We want to take care of one of our own, and this is the way we do things.
And that intrepid local that keeps the lights on. Pick up a hammer. It's time for Built to Last.
Built to Last is brought to you by the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters Labor and Management Committee and Armstrong Ceilings. Faster, easier, better.
Welcome to Built to Last. I'm Monica Pedersen.
And I'm Mark Nilsson. We're here at the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters Apprenticeship and Training Center, where the hands that build America are learning their trade from the ground up.
It's true, whether these future carpenters are learning about time-tested techniques or state-of-the-art systems, everything they learn here today will go into the buildings of tomorrow.
In our first story, we meet a man using techniques over a century old. He's doing more than preserving a heritage. He's also giving carpenters and the public alike an appreciation for the materials and processes used by tradespeople of the past.
I always wanted to be a carpenter. It was just something I wanted to do. My father was a carpenter. When I was a little kid, he'd bring blocks of wood home and I would nail them together.
That was then. Now when Paul wants blocks of wood, he comes to Sycamore, Illinois, where they make them the old-fashioned way.
I had a friend that was coming out here about, I don't know, 25 years ago, and we would always come to this. I liked the old tractors, the antiques.
Northern Illinois Steam Power Club was organized in 1956 by some farmers who remember the days when steam engines were part of the daily life of farming.
The club's mission is to educate about a bygone era through the preservation and display of antique heavy equipment.
And when I retired, a friend of mine joined the club, and so I thought I joined the club too.
There's a half a revolution to do it.
The man that is in charge of running this, he was like 10 years old when his father and uncle bought it.
Well, my dad was born 1891, and my oldest uncle was born 1882. And they bought this as an old used mill in 1917 to saw the framework of a barn out for themselves, and they sawed with it clear up to about 1960.
The Northern Illinois Steam Power Club bought the mill, and John has been running demos for them for 47 years.
John has a few stories, and he's a very personable guy, and he's interested in passing his trade as a sawyer.
In our high-tech age, low-tech can fascinate the youngins.
I have always loved watching the sawmill. I mean, you know, you have in your house or in your garage, you have a little saw, you know, to do your household projects, you know, cut 2x4s, whatever. But watching those giant saw blades cut into those giant trees and make those really awesome boards, it's just so cool to watch.
The sawyer that runs this, he knows how to turn this block of wood around to square it up. They take off so much that they have a flat area. They take and they turn it over, and they will make another flat area, so now they have something square to work off of after they squared the log up, and then they pull it through.
Very important knowing how much and when to turn it. You've got to remember what's going on all four sides of that, what's on the mill to be able to do this. There's a little pride in sawing good lumber. Anybody can saw block because it's the cheapest grade of lumber there is. But when you get into sawing clear cabinet grade lumber, there's a dollar's value to every pass you make. You don't make mistakes. The old story was the sawyer could make or break the company by just how much he kept turning the log looking for the value.
These days, you never frame a house with old-growth hardwood. But would you frame an 18-story building with manufactured wood?
In the past, every column was a tree. Every beam was a tree. We can do things much more sustainably now with engineered lumber.
It's a solid wood beam, but it is not one homogeneous piece of wood. They're able to take smaller pieces of wood and create the massive beams.
You can regrow wood, you can't regrow steel.
Take, for example, Brock Commons, which was University of British Columbia dormitory, 18 stories. It took American and Canadian forests 6 minutes to regrow that wood.
How can we build a safe building out of a product that burns?
The term mass, it's massive. It's massive sizes of the timber, so you can get the strength characteristics that engineers need, and you get the fire resistance due to its size.
They've done tremendous amounts of testing on the product, and they're able to prove statistically how the buildings handle fire.
You've got that charring layer that then insulates the structural wood hidden inside.
They're able to do the calculations and prove to the building officials that this can sustain a fire. They're still going to have their sprinkler systems in place.
The Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters has embraced mass timber construction.
With mass timber popping up all over North America, it's important for the installer to be seen as a viable partner.
So we wanted to have the training session, and we invited some contractors.
They need to know the process.
We have our curriculum in place, and we're doing our first build. We designed the building so that they run across every possible connection that they might run across in a full-scale building.
At Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions, we take great pride in making a positive difference in the lives of people. With the broadest portfolio in the industry and the technical performance to back it up, you can design and install with confidence. Our ceiling construction expertise, training, and pre-engineered ceiling solutions make it easy for you to seamlessly transition from one end of the building to the other. Improve construction efficiencies and keep every job on time, on budget, and on the mark with Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions. Faster, easier, better.
When you need a concrete contractor for your commercial project, you can't waste time waiting through countless unproven contractors who don't specialize in the job type you need or service your area. ConcreteIL.com lets you browse Northern Illinois' top contractors to find the perfect fit for your exact needs. You can filter our vetted list of contractors by both job type and location, and even request proposals directly through the site. Thinking commercial concrete? Think ConcreteIL.com.
From bridges and trains to iconic high-rises, have you ever wondered who's powering Chicago? Unlike our sports heroes, they go unnoticed. Yet they proudly keep our businesses, homes, and great city running. IBEW Local 134 electricians and the electrical contractors have the experience, training, and reliability to keep Chicago open for business.
As the timeless song goes, everything that's old is new again. This rings true even in the trades. Today, carpenters are employing state-of-the-art systems to build high-rises from materials that have been around for thousands of years.
When a new market decides they want to try mass timber, their first question is, who do we have that can do it? You know, if this is an exterior wall and it's non-exposed, then you would have interior build-out.
The attendees in the class right now are carpenters that are interested in what we're doing.
And then our beam is going to have to slip over this.
They want to learn and train on what's coming up so that they're prepared. So if there's a large demand for a couple buildings downtown, our members are capable of starting the project like right now.
This is a mass timber mock-up at the training center down here in Illinois.
So what number posts do we have here?
We couldn't find a mass timber provider that would be able to supply us with the materials to do a building. And Woodworks was gracious enough to partner with us and get one of the manufacturers to engineer and build the building that we had designed to be done in our shop. We designed the building so that they run across every possible connection that they might run across in a full-scale building. So we have large posts, short posts, we have the CLT stairs, We have a two-deck system, so they have different practice setting the deck panels.
We try to expose the guys to as many different situations in one 25 by 25 foot mock-up as they might find in the field.
Get the holes lined up.
The thought of the training is get them used to handling the material, rigging the material, see how it handles with the crane, how do things go together, proper means and methods.
Everything is CAD drawn and CNC engineered before the mechanical trades get out there, which is where a lot of times our conventional construction jobs bog down.
You're looking at more time up front with the design. Everyone is part of that process, sitting at the table, architect, engineer, installer, designer, GC, whether it's a GC whose carpenters are self-performing the work or it's a carpenter subcontractor, installer. They all need to be a part of that process up front and early. A lot of the steps taken to install mass timber are no different than any other panelized construction. Modular, panelized, that's nothing new. This is like a panel job exponentially larger.
It's been estimated as being roughly about the same cost as steel and concrete. The savings is the labor.
When those panels come out, everything is already engineered and CNC routed for all of those mechanical openings. So while a little bit more expensive on the front end, you're going to make all of that up plus some in the speed of construction.
Because on a mass timber job, it goes together extremely fast.
It's kind of unique. It is both your framing and structure and your finished element all in the same piece.
Here, for our flooring, rather than like a concrete deck, we're using, say, 7, 9 layers of 2x. So with us having a floor already made and we're just dropping it into place, fastening it, now the floors below can start work faster.
Water mitigation is really the big new thing because you're putting up what looks like shoring, but it's also finished product and structure. Since it goes together quicker than concrete or steel, we can start bringing up the exterior curtain, the envelope, get that going.
We've been here an hour and, you know, I believe this is the first time a lot of people in the room have ever seen it, you know, and it flies together.
Everybody wants part of something new. So as this training continues and we continue to share this material out to the other training centers throughout North America, Woodworks, they're going to keep a database of qualified installers.
We developed this program because we see what's coming.
Hopefully we're able to take some of this new information and training back to our membership.
It really takes our scope of work kind of to the next level of projects.
At 85.4 meters high, Mia Storna in Brumunddal, Norway is now the world's tallest mass timber building.
And I tried to push myself up, or even using the bushes to pull myself up. Couldn't move.
Keeping restaurants and hotels up to date with the latest design trends is a constant challenge. Finding qualified contractors isn't at finishingchicago.com. We work with top designers and general contractors who use the latest painting, drywall finishing, and wall covering techniques in Chicagoland's premier hotels and restaurants. The hospitality industry relies on finishingchicago.com as its free resource to find quality finishing contractors. For a great finish, start with finishingchicago.com.
24/7, IBEW Local 9 linemen are there protecting you and your family. From the moment you wake up with a power in your home, on your way to work, lighting the way and easing congestion, plus keeping you safe with traffic lights and cameras. So the next time you're at a stoplight, pass under a power line, or just pull into your brightly lit neighborhood, think of your friends at IBEW Local 9. We'll continue to light the way for you. Meet us online at IBEW9.org.
When tragedy strikes, family comes first. The brothers and sisters of the trade unions understand this perhaps more deeply than anyone else and are always there to support one of their own during life-changing times.
Bruce is 59. He just retired, was healthy. There were no signs, there were no symptoms that Bruce was even sick or to anticipate something like this.
I was just sitting out on my front porch, and I felt like the chair had collapsed from underneath me, and I just fell to the ground. And I tried to push myself up, or even using the bushes to pull myself up. Couldn't move. I knew my neighbor from across the street lets his dog out. He did hear me, and he did call 911. And then the paramedics came and took me to the hospital.
A 6 a.m. phone call asked Justin and Kelly to come to the hospital. Bruce had come through, but he will have a long recovery.
Seeing him laying in bed so weak and frail, it's very emotional. And
But Justin, my husband, did an amazing job.
I'm just so proud of my son. He took the bull by the horns.
We decided that we were going to work on Bruce's house and started picking out paint colors, deciding what we were going to do with the bathroom. Justin took a week off, was here every single day working on this house. And Clark from the Painters Union came and was like, stop immediately.
Stop. That's what we do. We're the Painters Union. I'm Clark Johnson. I am the Director of Marketing for Finishing Chicago. I'm actually was Bruce Kuhn's boss before he retired, so Bruce worked for me for 10 years doing promotional activities.
my dad's been with the union for over 30 years. They're painters, they're tapers, they're decorators, but they're artists. They really have passion in the work that they do.
Bruce is a great guy, and he's always smiling, happy. He did a lot of charity work himself, so it's very easy to give back to someone who gave so much to his union. He was a treasurer of his local. He just retired 6 weeks before the stroke, which was really difficult. He's in therapy, so he's recovering, so we're taking care of it before he gets home. Wheelchair ramp out front that's done by Langford Painting Division. We have the Painters District Council 14 apprenticeship program is doing all the work, donated their time. They put down a walk-in shower so he could do everything on his own.
Knowing that the union was there for me, you know, it's a tremendous lift off my shoulders, and I can't thank them enough.
What the union is doing is absolutely amazing. I think he's gonna love everything that we're doing and the union's doing, and he's just gonna be so thankful, I know it.
Through the Finishing Contractors Association of Chicago, we're always willing to give back. We want to take care of one of our own, and this is the way we do things.
Basically, my left side is paralyzed.
When I saw Bruce, even though he's just like a couple of weeks post-stroke, when I evaluated him, fortunately, he has shown good prognosis. It's one successful factor, really, to have a positive and motivating attitude towards rehab. I mean, family and friends and church and, again, the co-workers that really help him with this.
Seeing the progress in the last couple months and the movement, it's a blessing.
Bye, good luck, good luck.
Thank you.
My name's Jennifer, and I've known Bruce for about 2 years. We started dating about 4 months ago. So as much as we dated is as much as we've been going through the stroke episode. He's cognitively getting sharper, and so it's just really a blessing.
Home sweet home. You guys did a great job.
Bruce is a pretty emotional guy. He's a tough guy, but he is that soft, underbelly. And I think he's humbled by it because he's usually the one doing the work. He's volunteered on multiple projects, do a little work like this. The wall was his idea, which actually was boards from pallets. Justin actually sat outside in the cold, ripping this thing apart, and then the Langford Painting Division actually put up the wall.
It's just overwhelming, all the people that donate their time to get my house in shape for me to be here, especially the ramp. Solid, with skilled labor.
Just some of the most wonderful people I've ever met. Very graceful, very quick to jump and help, very sacrificing themselves.
That's part of what the union is. It's actually uniting together to work for a common cause.
There's no way that Jennifer, Justin, and I could have done all of this without the union.
Support of friends and family helps a stroke survivor get well quick.
My bosses, the Glazers, the apprenticeship program for DC 14, You know, they all came together and got this project done so Bruce can get home and to be comfortable.
Of course, I'm gonna invite them all back. We're gonna have a party out back, and you know, and that's how I hope I can show them my appreciation that way, by feeding them.
When we come into situations like this, you got to be prepared for anything. You're always walking out, you're always looking up, looking for tree limbs hanging, ready to come down.
When you have plumbing issues in your home, it can disrupt your whole routine. At Plumbers 911, we connect you with a highly experienced plumber in 5 minutes or less. We call it our 5-minute promise. All of our expert plumbers are highly trained, background checked, licensed, and insured, so you can feel confident that your job will be done right the first time. Our phones are open 24/7 to help solve your problem, day or night, at 1-833-PLUM-911. Plumbers 911, your plumbing connection.
We are DeWalt. We're the ones who grind it out. The ones using materials from all over the world to build the things that build America, right here in America. And there's no place we'd rather be. Land of the free, tools of the brave.
This is a team. It's made up of different players, positions, skills, talented, sure, but on their own? Because every team needs a coach, someone who makes things work together. That's how Lesset works. We're coaches in the construction industry, bringing together laborers and management, unions and contractor associations. Our work leads to safer, stronger construction, which is a win for us all.
When severe weather hits, it can present dangerous situations like outages to critical resources and exposed power lines. At times like these, the skilled men and women of IBEW Local 9 fearlessly enter the fray like superheroes to restore power and order.
Local 9 is a relatively small but very diverse local that does all what is considered outdoor electrical work, everything that is outside the property line.
We're going all the way from Skokie all the way down to Kankakee, and then we're going as far west as, Rockford area.
We do transmission, distribution, street lighting, traffic signal, communications type of work. We also actually do line clearance, tree trimming around Commonwealth Edison, distribution and transmission lines.
We have a lot of different weather conditions that we have to deal with today. Snow, ice, roadway conditions. Just getting out to the job is going to be a hazard in itself.
What brought us out here was power out in the area due to the tree limb on the line. When we come up to a job site or a situation like this, first thing we do is we kind of get together at the trucks and quickly look over, we got these hazards, we'll talk about it, and then we'll write it down in a job brief. Biggest safety concerns are falling limbs and the tree on the line.
We don't ever know what we're going to come across, so it's important to look out for one another.
When we come into situations like this, you got to be prepared for anything. You always walking out, you're always looking up, looking for tree limbs hanging, ready to come down. You could have lines that you don't necessarily see in trees.
You cannot do this work unless you have the skills in order to do it safely. If you're not aware that a circuit, if it energized when you're not there, can absolutely be catastrophic.
We were called out to test the line de-energized and ground the line for the tree crews to remove the limb from the line. Put our grounds up, and now the tree crews will be able to go to work. Once they remove the limb from the line, we'll be able to re-energize and put power back to these homes.
We're not always working in the best of conditions. Then they get drawn out to long hours until all the customers' powers are restored.
The linemen out there, they're definitely been called a special breed.
Whenever and wherever natural disaster strikes, Local 9 linemen may expect a call.
The utilities in whatever area is going to be affected have what they call a mutual assistance with other utilities throughout the country. So when somebody gets in a jam because of Mother Nature, they have people that they rely on. They go through their list and they start calling.
It goes to the heads of the company,
And then the general foreman will call the foreman to call the crews to see who's available, who wants to go.
We've gone from like the heat to the cold and back down to it, and then in the wind, the snow, the rain, you name it, we've been in it. And when everyone else is leaving the area, we're the only guys driving in.
Hurricane Irma. The wind speed on the ground where we were at was 122 miles an hour.
It is the most dangerous part of this line work. You go on a storm, you don't know what you're going to come across. There's down lines, there can be what's called backfeed, where people run their generators and are backfeeding electricities out those lines. The men and women out there have to be skilled, have to know all of the procedures.
You adapt to the environment pretty quick, know your surroundings. Depending on the time of the year, you know what to expect as far as animals, spiders, snakes, so you're cautious of that. We're like 30 miles off the Gulf of Mexico, and this alligator was probably about 15 feet from us, just following us, swimming through the murky water. We nicknamed him Bob.
One hurricane can destroy tremendous amounts of infrastructure.
Well, time is of the essence. You know, up here, if you're out of power for a couple hours and no TV, you get upset. Down there, you're out days, up to weeks, sometimes months, depending on the size of a hurricane. So you want to have people ready to get and hit the ground running as soon as that storm is over.
It's nothing the linemen haven't seen before. It's just a matter of scale.
Up here, we have to deal with tornadoes quite often. So it's just a bigger category down there when a hurricane hits, but it's the same type of thing.
The worst weather conditions I have ever personally worked in was we were working in North Dakota, and that was 2 foot, 3 foot, maybe snow, and then not including the drifts that went up pretty high.
We were out on Hurricane Gustav back in '08, and about 3 weeks later, getting close to the restoration, Hurricane Ike came in, so everybody was shuffled on the Greyhound buses and evacuated 3 or 4 hours north into the state. And then come back and everything that you built was all torn down again.
You're going down to a place that's been beat up, people are wanting their power back, they have no water, no food, no nothing, and they're so thankful. I mean, you're out there, you're working 16 hours on, 8 hours off, but when you turn somebody's power on, whether it's 2 days later or a week later, you can't believe how appreciative they are.
A lot of these guys miss families' birthdays, Christmases, holidays.
You do your job, restore power, you move on to the next ticket. You know, you don't wait for the pat on the back or somebody come out and say thank you.
Linemen have big hearts, and just give us a chance and we'll prove it to you.
That's all for this episode of Built to Last.
You know, Monica, this is where I usually drop one of my world-famous carpentry jokes, but today I don't think I'm gonna do one.
Why not?
I don't think it would work. Would.
No, it did not work.
Would work. That's
we will
carpentry.
see you next time.
Hopefully.